Yeah, Mike and Brandon, we're working as hard as we can to cut through the misinformation, disinformation, and that's why we're very fortunate to be joined this morning by City Council President Helena Moreno, who has been briefed on all of this. But first, this is such a tough way, Helena, to begin 2025, such a devastating turn of events, and so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about how hard you've been working overnight and the information that you've been getting and hearing from families and people who are concerned about their loved ones.
I mean, no doubt, David. I mean, this is a terrible tragedy, and it's been a long night. As City Council President, I've had to be involved in many of the briefings with obviously Chief Kirkpatrick and State Police and Captain Roberts over in the 8th District. But what's been really tough is hearing from different individuals who are searching for their loved ones. And I'll say this: call 311 if you're looking for information about your loved ones. It's hard when you can't seem to find where your loved one is if they're not at any of the hospitals and things like that. Right. So that's been really, really difficult. Horrific situation. And as you know, David, we now have our federal investigators, the FBI is in, and they are the ones who are leading the investigation into this because it is a terrorist attack.
Right, and this is all hands on deck with the FBI. I know that there are agents who are doing public corruption and other work who are working on this and this only right now. So you've been briefed. Can you talk about what you've learned in those briefings? Any kind of details you can share?
Sure. So, what I've learned is some of the things that you all have already reported. Obviously, we had this individual come in and go around the barricades and go through, and several people were killed. The death count is 10. I do believe that is going to rise, unfortunately, to even more than 10. And we did have officers injured who were shot. They are in stable condition. We are expecting them to be fine. From what I've learned through my briefings, it does not appear that the suspect is local. So we'll get more information on that at the 11 o'clock briefing. The FBI, as I told you, they are the ones who are leading this investigation. They're bringing in people from Quantico. This is going to be a very extensive processing of this scene because it is a terrorist attack. We do not expect Bourbon Street to be open anytime soon. Within the next 48 hours, I would say that Bourbon Street will likely be shut down as this investigation continues. I also want to make sure that people know that there are additional sweeps that are happening throughout the French Quarter and also throughout the city as well. Additional bomb dogs have been brought in to do these additional sweeps. Chief Kirkpatrick requested that this morning. There are additional sweeps happening right now at the Superdome. So I would just, at this moment, please stay away from the French Quarter. And also, even if you're navigating around downtown, you're probably not going to be able to drive to where you're thinking you're going to be able to drive through because of all the different sweeps that are occurring at this moment.
Right, and some of our reporters are telling us who are out around parts of the French Quarter and other areas of the city that, and particularly further down Bourbon Street, further into the heart of the quarter, hearing explosions. We don't know if those are other IEDs or if those are just safety explosions. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, there are additional sweeps happening for potential IEDs, and so that's happening. Whether or not something has been detonated or not, I have not received that kind of information, but yes, that is happening, and there's the potential that there are also other suspects involved.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you know anything more about any other potential accomplices, or do we not know?
So, from what I understand, there is a potential that other suspects could be involved in this, and all hands on deck on determining who these individuals are and finding them.
And we talked about the bollards. When Mayor Mitch Landrieu was in office, a lot of money was spent to put those bollards in. Apparently, those bollards were not there. Do we know why?
So, and speaking with state police, from what I understand is that those bollards were currently being repaired. And so those bollards had not been activated. They would have, from what I understand from state police, been ready for the Super Bowl. But from what I understand, the reason why there were different barricades there is because the bollards at this moment had not been functional.
And they were being repaired, so they were taken out, essentially.
I'm not sure if they were taken out or what, but somehow they were being repaired.
Right, and those were funded with Homeland Security money, so this is precisely what they would have been.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, those bollards, were there for the purpose of keeping individuals from driving down Bourbon Street. But I think now, David, moving forward, we need to come up with an additional plan. And I know that Rodney Hyatt with Troop NOLA is already exploring this right now. What do we do immediately to better secure the French Quarter? Rodney Hyatt with Troop NOLA, he's been looking at different things happening in New York as to different resources that are deployed even for like their New Year's Eve event that they just had last night, and what can be done immediately right now to secure the French Quarter. So whether it's bringing in additional sand trucks, whether that's, bringing in, stronger concrete barricades, like all of those different things, blocking all of the different entrances coming into Bourbon Street, all of those things right now are being looked at and analyzed immediately moving forward.
What about the Sugar Bowl? Is that affected at all by this, or is it going to go forward?
So from what I understand, as I told you, it does appear, and everything I'm hearing is that obviously Bourbon Street will be shut down.
Right.
But as far as the game goes, yes, that is still scheduled to go on. There are extra police officers, police presence from national to state to local, obviously being deployed. Additional sweeps occurring at the Superdome as we speak right now for the game to go on. The perimeter, the security perimeter around the Superdome, from what I understand, is going to be larger than initially that they had expected. And so, yes, it is expected to go on.
What is your message to tourists and locals who are just scared right now and don't know whether it's safe to go outside?
Yeah, well, what I would say this is that our federal partners, our state police, and our local police department, it is all hands on deck on making sure the people of the city are safe, and that any additional suspects are gone after and dealt with immediately. And so with the federal resources that we have in right now, with the FBI fully in on this investigation and grabbing everyone who potentially could have been involved, the safety of the people of New Orleans is #1 priority, and safety of people going to the Sugar Bowl today is #1 priority, which is one of the reasons why Chief Ann requested such an excess of the bomb squad dogs coming in to make sure that there isn't anything that has been missed.
And do we know anything else about the truck, about what kind of arsenal that the person had, what kind of, there's this flag, of course, on the back that we can't see what it is. Is there any information there?
So from what I understand and information that I received is that this individual was in, full military gear, that he is apparently not local, and that he was prepared, and that he was very prepared to inflict horrific pain on the people on Bourbon Street. And, in talking with Chief Kirkpatrick, with a situation like this and with an individual like this, as prepared with the ammunition that he had, that even though there were 300 police officers there, someone as determined as this, additional police presence probably wouldn't have been something that prevented this. So that's where it's like we need to now move forward, look at those additional resources as to what are now the specific barriers that we need to put in for entering the French Quarter, Bourbon Street. Is it additional sand trucks? Is it the concrete barriers? What is it? That is being determined right now by Rodney Hyatt being, the head of Troop NOLA and NOPD. I want to make sure that people understand too that the security of the French Quarter will remain NOPD and state police effort. The investigation itself of this terrorist attack will be led by the FBI.
And is there any sense that the threat could go beyond the French Quarter or the downtown area?
So at this point, from what I'm hearing, it's that the initial threat was just to that Bourbon Street corridor.
Okay, because obviously we have a lot more ahead of us beyond the Sugar Bowl, Super Bowl coming up soon.
Look, no doubt, and obviously now with what has happened, there's going to be a much more increased level of alertness, not only from our local law enforcement that's already been very alert, but also from our federal partners as well.
And as we've seen terror attacks around the world and around the country, we were fearful that something like this would happen on a big day in New Orleans, and it appears that now it has.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrific. I think that, you always see things that happen in other parts of the country, and you you still have that wish and hope that it'll never be you. Unfortunately, now it has come to the city of New Orleans, and this is a horrific, tragic event. But we are New Orleanians, and we will move forward, and we will make the city safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Helena Moreno, thank you so much. We'll send it now back to Mike and Brandon because you know, there's a lot more that we need to do to find out what's going on, and the 11 o'clock briefing promises to bring a lot more information that will be helpful moving forward in this investigation. Yeah.